Okay. Okay, I think we got a nice critical mass here, and if people keep trickling in, that's cool. I'll try to remember to admit them. Hey everybody, I'm Gabe, and I'm the founder and CEO of Songcraft. And this is Jen. She can introduce herself too.
Hello, I'm Jen. I'm the VP of Experience at Songcraft.
And I think maybe some of you have spoken with me on calls before, because we've done one or two things with West Coast Songwriters before, but I might be new for most of you. And yeah, today I would like to just talk to you a bit about Songcraft and how it might fit into your songwriting process. And I would love to sort of have a back and forth dialogue. I'd love to hear about your processes a little bit, if that is sort of relevant to what I'm showing you, and answer questions and have a nice back and forth, because I know everybody's process is a little bit different. And yeah, I'd love to show you sort of what we built. But first, I can give you a little background on Songcraft. I know not all of you probably even know what it is, but it all started a couple of years ago. I'm an amateur songwriter. I write for fun. I play at open mics and things like that. But my professional background is in software development. And so I left my previous job to spend more time writing music, being more creative, and quickly realized that my process was sort of all over the place. And I had voice memos here and notes on my notepads here. And then I'd have my Google Docs over there and my emails if I wanted to send a recording to somebody. Sort of lost track of everything. I had rhyming dictionaries up. I had sort of music theory tools up to help me kind of figure out what chords I might want to play. And I had, given the background I had, I decided, okay, maybe I can solve this problem with the skills and software that I have. And so I ended up building this little website that I could type my lyrics and my chords into with some of the other tools that I needed as a songwriter, kind of all in one place. And over the past couple of years, it very quickly turned into something that wasn't just for me. I ended up sharing it online, got a ton of positive feedback. And in the past couple of years, I've had hundreds of conversations, and Jen's had dozens of conversations with songwriters to figure out how we can turn this into a product that's not just for me, but a product to serve sort of all songwriters everywhere. And so, yeah, that's sort of where we're at. We have a collaborative web-based software platform for songwriters to write and create and share and collaborate. So today I would love to sort of walk you through what it looks like and how it works and what it might be able to do for you. So I'll do kind of a live demo. I'll go through it. There's a lot to see. And so if I'm going too fast at any point, feel free to raise your hand or just yell at me, stop me with questions in the middle, ask for clarification, any of that. It's all good. I love dialoguing with songwriters and with people who are interested in music. So yeah, just let's have a conversation about it. But first, I will just share my screen. Does anybody have any questions off the get-go or any comments? Cool. Well, you haven't seen anything yet, so I'm not surprised. Cool. So this right here where we just landed is your library. And when you create an account, you go to songcraft.io and you can create a free account. It doesn't cost anything to make an account. And you land in your library. So this might look familiar. It looks like maybe some other products where you would manage a set of documents or a set of projects. This is my list of songs. I'm actually gonna try to find a way to keep the participants up so if somebody joins, I can admit them. Well, hopefully it'll notify me. Anyway, so this is my list of songs. And there's a couple little features that are important on this page. The main event here is the idea of collections. So any song can live in one or multiple collections. So I could have a collection of my collaborations with Jen, and then I could have, oh, my computer's crashing. Yeah, and then I could have another collection that is, oh, my new album that's coming out, or one that's drafts. And so this is just a way to really quickly and easily organize my music. I can find songs, I can search for things. The other couple elements on this page, one is the ability to add a demo, which I'll talk about later. But then also really important, Songcraft is sort of collaboration first. And so I can always invite collaborators to work with me on a song. And so in this case, I've gone ahead and I've invited Jen to collaborate with me. But I can invite anybody by email here. If they have a Songcraft account, they'll get instant access to collaborate. And if they don't, they'll get an invite, an email to come join Songcraft for free and jump directly into the song with me. When I do jump into a song, in this case, I just created a little sample song. This is what a blank song looks like when you create it. You land in your sort of song workspace. So this is where I can write. The main event here is this sort of document, and it looks like any other collaborative document you might have seen. In the top right, you'll see that Hey Jen is in my file right now, just like something like Google Docs. And so we both can have a cursor and we can both start writing, say, lyrics together. So I can admit somebody who just joined.
Yeah, I wish I could do that for you instead of you having to demo and let them.
Maybe I can. Well, it's okay. I don't see it right now, but hopefully it'll pop up. Sorry, guys. Okay, well, I don't see it right now, but okay. So I'm in this document. I'm starting to write lyrics. Hopefully, the first thing that you'll notice is a couple things happen. One, we can collaborate together like this, but there's a number that starts ticking up as I'm writing on the left side here. This is an automatic syllable counter. So as I'm writing my lyrics, the syllable counter will update in real time. And so I don't have to do anything for this. It's just automatically gonna keep track of the syllables on every line of my song without having to think about it. I can turn that on or off. If it's annoying me, I can take it away, but I love that feature, so I often write with it on. So as I'm working on lyrics, I might find myself looking for rhymes or synonyms for a word. And previously for me, I would pull up a dictionary, I'd pull up a website that has a thesaurus. But in Songcraft, I can just highlight any word I want, and I can say, hey, send that to our dictionary. And it'll take me over here where I can see rhymes, synonyms, I can see related words, words that are just come up alongside the word time in the English language often, and even kind of a fun sounds like. These aren't words that rhyme, but these are words that just kind of have similar parts of the word, the vocal sounds of the word, to just help me ideate on a word. I can also type in anything I want up here and search any word I want. It doesn't have to come directly from my song. So say I've worked on some lyrics and now I'd like to add some chords to my song. So in this case, I'm gonna write a simple like 1-4-5. So I'm gonna start writing a C to represent a C chord. And a couple things happen. Songcraft recognizes that C is a chord and it gives me autocomplete suggestions. And so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna write CFG. It knows their chords, it turns them blue and they become kind of a special object. And you'll also notice this is an optional feature, but I have it turned on right now. Up top, it'll take all those chords and it'll show me the fingerings for them on guitar. So I had these chord charts, and what I can do is I can say, hey, I'd rather see that on ukulele, or I want that in drop D tuning on my guitar. And it'll give me all the options to play through these chords on whatever stringed instrument I'm playing. I'm actually going to turn that off right now because I find it a little distracting sometimes while I'm talking about other stuff. But by default, you can also just hover on a chord and have the same feature. And you can play any of these back also. You can also double click on any chord. You won't be able to hear this because I don't think it'll pipe through Zoom. But you can double click on any chord and it'll play that chord back either on guitar or piano, whatever you prefer. The other thing that happens that you may have also noticed is on the right side of my screen, this is our chord explorer. And right when I typed in CFG, Songcraft says, hey, it looks like you're in C major. If I don't want to be in C major, I can just type in whatever key I want. But in this case, I am writing in C major. Cool, got it right. And it says, here are your triads and your sevenths. And then here are the chords that are borrowed from your parallel minor. And so basically, here's a set of chords that might sound good with your song. So if you're just looking for ideas, maybe you're building your chorus now that you have some verse chords. It's just a really simple way to see some chords that might sound nice in your song. You can click any of these chords to play them, and then you can also just drag them into your song if you find that easier than typing. I'll do The other thing when you're working on chords, because we know you're in C major, you get a couple other goodies automatically. So if I want to transpose my song up and down keys, because Songcraft knows what all my chords are, it can just instantly transpose my entire song, say up to D major. In this case, I'll keep it in C major, but it's a really easy way to transpose songs up and down. There's also this progression explorer over here in your toolbar on the right. The way the progression explorer works is it says, hey, we know you're in C major. How about some chord progressions? So if I'm, again, maybe I've got a verse that I really like, or I've got some initial ideas, this is a way that I say, okay, I need to work on my chorus. I need a new progression in C. Maybe I kind of run out of ideas, fiddling around on my guitar or my piano. Maybe I just want some fresh ideas. Somebody playing some guitar. You can click generate, and you've got a couple thousand sort of common and some not so commonly used progressions that you can play through. And if I find one I like, I can save it for later. I can also take any of these chords and I can drag them directly into my song. So kind of all these ways to just enhance your creative process as you're working on your lyrics or your chords. Before I go on, I want to stop and ask, does anybody have any questions? Sometimes I just kind of like talk and show for days. But I'll just give a sec if anybody has questions or thoughts. Cool.
No questions, but this is just amazing. That's all.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. And yeah, if you have questions, so you can drop them in the chat, and I can see the chat too if I coordinate myself properly.
Yeah, I mean, I can also call them out too, Gabe.
Cool. Okay, thank you, Jen. Yeah, so other major things for me, when I write, I often have to sort of capture whatever idea I have in the moment. And so I used to use voice memos a lot, voice recorders, all sorts of things like this. Every songwriter I talk to pretty much has to have a voice recorder somewhere in their process. And so we just went ahead and added that to Songcraft. So if you see this microphone over here, this is just a list of my recordings. I can either upload recordings or I can record directly within Songcraft. The other cool thing about this is that because it's collaborative, right when my clip uploads, when I finish recording it, it appears on Jen's side as well. And so it's a really easy way to pass audio clips back and forth without using email or Dropbox or Google Drive or anything like that. These audio clips or recordings or demos will just be hooked up to my song. They'll live alongside my song, and all my collaborators will have full access to them. I know not everybody plays guitar or stringed instruments, but I am personally a guitarist. And so when I write, I'm often, back in the day, I would be sort of tabbing out solos or finger picking patterns, making myself notes to do that. But if you've ever done that, if you've ever typed up guitar tabs by hand, it can be like a major pain. And so the other cool thing we added here for folks that do that is the ability to insert guitar tabs directly into your song. And so I can insert a fretboard basically, and this will adhere to whatever tuning I set. In this case, it's just standard guitar tuning. But again, if you play ukulele or something, you can totally do this on a ukulele fretboard as well. And then I can just navigate around this with my keyboard and mouse. And I can sort of add whatever type of normal guitar fingering, finger picking, solos. I can put any of those on the fretboard that I want. And that's also collaborative. So Jen could contribute to it also, can duplicate these tabs. And yeah, it kind of just sits alongside your lyrics and your chords. There's some features that are just like, I find kind of necessary for a collaborative editor. One of them is the ability to chat with your collaborators. And so there's a text chat up here where I can just talk and leave notes for Jen. She can respond and you can sort of talk with all your collaborators. The other is the ability to leave inline comments. And then really exciting is we just launched a feature a week or two ago, which is version history. And so Songcraft will always be keeping track of the changes that you're making. And we'll basically automatically keep a list of benchmarks of all the changes you've made over time. So maybe I'd have changes from months ago even, and I can go and I can restore previous versions of the song if I want. And so I sort of know that I don't always need to be duplicating a song or keeping notes for, hey, do I like line A or B? Which one do I like more? You can kind of go off in a direction and write your stuff. And if you ever want to hop back to a place you were before, you just select the version that you like, and you can jump back to it and restore it. So you don't really ever have to worry about losing your work or losing a certain idea that you might have had.
Or if you have one of those like pesky collaborators that changed a word that you didn't quite want, you can be like, oh, right.
Yeah. And then, one other really cool collaborative feature that we added not too long ago is also the ability to collaborate on video. And so I won't pull this up now because I think it'll be very confusing with the Zoom going as well. But we actually have built-in video collaboration. And so this is essentially a private video chat room that will always be here for you and your collaborators. It's totally private to any collaborators on the song. And I can just jump into this video call whenever I want. It'll launch a video conference in a new window, and then Jen and I can just have a little collab. I can let her know what ideas are on my mind, whatever else. We don't have to like schedule a Zoom call on a calendar and then make sure that everybody's emails are all lined up. If your collaborator's on a song, then you'll be good and you'll have access to that video chat. Just a couple more things. I know I'm going really fast. If people have questions again,
oh yeah, it
feel
does
free to
look hard
interrupt
to
me.
eat.
Gabe, I think you could mute people if you.
Oh, we could talk to Debbie.
This is a lot to manage on this one. Oh, hello, everybody. We've got some new people. Hold on, it's hard to navigate all this Zoom stuff. If anybody's unmuted,
Kim,
Kim,
you might want to unmute yourself.
oh, great,
are we good?
perfect.
Oh, nice. Cool. Let me jump back in here. Okay, awesome. So that's video. One other thing I wanted to call out, I don't know if anybody's familiar with holistic songwriting on YouTube. It's this guy Friedemann, and he puts out a bunch of really cool songwriting content. And one project that he did was this series of songwriting exercises in the form of a deck of cards that he put on Kickstarter. Basically, this really awesome set of exercises. And we collaborated with him to digitize those decks. They're called the songwriting decks. And so this is kind of, I think, a really underrated feature of Songcraft. It's almost like a whole nother product that comes with Songcraft, where you can open up this little songwriting decks thing here in the top right corner. And you've got 14 different exercises for harmony, melody, lyrics, even got some sort of like higher level song prompts. And you can launch any of these exercises directly in your song. So this example is just a little lyrical prompt where it'll give you an idea for a line or for a topic if you just want to browse through some ideas. There's some really cool stuff in here. There are these melody outlines, which is sort of the shape of a melody just to help you come up with an idea or two if you're looking for sort of a new melodical pattern. For me, sometimes melodies tend to be the type of thing that come to me rather than, just for me personally, it's hard for me to sort of sit down and be like, okay, I'm going to like come up with a catchy melody right now. And so it helps for me to have some prompts or some guidance just to help me generate ideas that I can then jump off of. So this is a set of exercises that is super fun to explore. It's even got, pitch please, which is like these fake songwriting prompts that will give you a prompt for a topic to write a song on, or sort of a pseudo professional pitch that you're going to have to make to a client. Really fun thing to explore. I would highly recommend that. And then, there's just a couple other little features. There's a built-in tuner, there's a built-in metronome. Hopefully everything you kind of need as a songwriter to just sit down and write and not have to worry about your process. The last thing I want to show is Songcraft also has the ability to share songs out. So we're huge on collaboration and everything is sort of real-time collaborative, but a lot of the time you need to send a song to somebody who might not be your co-writer, you might not want to be your collaborator, sort of the equivalent of sending out a demo over email or sending out an audio clip with lyrics to somebody over email. Songcraft lets you do that too. So I'm going to go back to this idea of a demo that I talked about in the very beginning. For any song, you can either link a YouTube, SoundCloud, or Spotify link, and it will embed that recording directly into your song. or you can select one of the recordings that you've uploaded or that you've recorded with Songcraft. So in this case, because I recorded that little fake clip earlier, I'm going to set that as my song demo. And then I have this ability to enable a song sharing link. And I can send that link to anybody, even if they're not a collaborator, even if they're not a Songcraft user. And so I just want to give you a little view what that looks like. So I'm going to share a different window. If I can figure out how to do that. So I think you see a different, okay, cool. So this is the view that somebody gets. If they don't even have an account and you send them that link, they can see your full lyric sheet with chords, whatever you have in here. They'll see the title, they'll see who the songwriter is, and then your demo will sit right here and they can just play it directly in their web browser. And so if this is a YouTube video or if this is a Spotify song, that will all be embedded right here alongside your lyrics. And you can send that to anybody. And then if they want to join, sign up, jump in, collaborate, they can. But if this is just somebody you're making a pitch to or a manager or a friend that you want to share a song with, you can also just share this link and they can access it. I'll jump back to the other one real quick. And yeah, you can also print songs, but that's Songcraft. So yeah, I would love to sort of answer any questions people have. I'd love to hear sort of thoughts on how that might fit into your process, or if there are things in your process that this doesn't tackle. Yeah, I'd love to hear thoughts or questions and have kind of a discussion about whether this may or may not fit into your process. I'd love to hear first impressions, questions. Yeah, anybody have anything they want to say?
I had a question about the transpose feature, which is great. I like it. I use it all the time. Sometimes, though, I get a sharp in a flat key. I don't know if you've heard that from anybody else, but sometimes I'm going up and down. It's like, wait a minute, I'm in F, but it's telling me that's A sharp instead of a B flat. Does that come up at all?
It hasn't come up, so I'm really glad to hear that. Yeah, we're happy to take a look at it. Generally, when we transpose, it's kind of like not the smartest like transposition where it'll say, hey, if this is a G and you're transposing down, it'll just turn that G into G flat. It doesn't do a whole lot of like, hey, look at the key that you're jumping to and figure out if there's like a weird, although in your case, I'm not sure. I'm happy to take a peek at it if you have like a specific.
Well, right there. I mean, what you just did when you went down, you were in B and it was showing you a flat. I don't know how you got to it there, but
I can check.
go by which way you were going.
I don't know which way I was going. Sorry.
Yeah. Right there. So that's the key of B, and that should be an F sharp instead of a B G flat. So it's just weird. I can do it, but it just kind of scrambles my mind sometimes. Think I'm playing in that key. It's like, okay, no, I'm playing it. Just a small little thing, but it's a great thing. Love it.
That's really good feedback. And obviously, yeah, here's the F sharp, and we're not doing that over here. So I'm going to take a note of it, and we will take a look at it.
Great.
That's the other thing. If there are people who do use Songcraft already, I'd love to hear like if you have thoughts on it, or if there are things that you wish it had, or things that you do enjoy about it, things that you don't. That's like really, really big for us. We're always trying to talk to songwriters and users to see how we can make it better.
There is a question in the chat from Ricky is asking, is there an app version?
Oh, great question. Right now, there's not a native mobile app. The way that it works is we sort of built Songcraft to look good and work well on any device, including mobile devices. And so right now, what our users do is go to the website on mobile, and then you can basically install it to your homepage. So it acts like an app, but it's not quite as fluid as a native mobile app. So it'll work on any device. And the good news is that we have native mobile apps in the works. And so before long, it will be like properly available in the App Store and Google Play. And you'll be able to download it that way. But that shouldn't be stopping you right now from using it on mobile, because you can access it on any device. That's a very good question. Oh, and then about the presentation, I think the presentation is being recorded.
Yes.
Yes. And I'll also be sort of available. In general, we like to make ourselves available. And so you can always reach out by email to support@songcraft.io or Gabe or Jenn at. And actually, if you're in Songcraft, there is just a chat with support option, which will open up a chat that goes like directly to our cell phones, literally. And so we're really easy to get a hold of. And we're happy to answer any questions that might come up after the fact too.
Yes. And we're constantly trying to make Songcraft better and useful for songwriters. And so this is why we love hearing feedback and potential improvements.
Totally. And if there's also, like, we love doing demos. If there's a group of folks that would love to get another demo or have a conversation about it, we're always open to jumping on calls. We really like it.
So
Can the user, oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but part of my question was, I know it's going to be recorded, but will it be available through Poppy and on YouTube after, or do we need to go to another presentation or another link to be able to get the first part that I missed?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah,
That's best answered by Poppy. Oh, go ahead, Chris.
No, it'll be available once she gets all the recordings together. She'll put them all up and send out a thing so you can access it on, you know, basically the same page that is up there now with all the different, you know, links. You'll be able to click on that and listen and watch it.
Last night, Poppy said it would take her about a week to put them up.
Right.
Okay, thanks, Bruce.
Thank you, Bruce. Yeah, I didn't know the answer to that one. Appreciate it. Can the user pick their favorite font? Right now, we just have this default font. This is a question that comes up, and so it's something that we would love to add. And if that's a thing that would be helpful to you, that is a great piece of information that we will put into our back pockets as we decide sort of how to prioritize further improvements. So yeah, we would love to add that, but right now it's just the default font.
Do you have any safety measures for proprietary stuff? You know, so as you're sharing things, are there any things in place about that? Or is it just, you know, you're sharing and so beware as you share?
Yeah, good question. In terms of actually like plugging in someone's email and giving them access to a song, I would say that's like the only room that there would be for I don't know, accidentally giving access to a song. There's no sort of public way for you to put a song out there that anybody could access. And so every song has sort of a special URL ID that nobody will know to access unless you share it out with. So hold on, I'll answer this in a couple of ways. Basically, there is this sharing link that you can enable. At any time you can disable that link. And that means that anybody coming to that song will not be able to access your stuff. So if you ever accidentally share out a link or something, you can disable it. And then the same with collaborators. So if you accidentally invite someone to collaborate, the only way that would happen is if you accidentally type the wrong email or have a typo, something like that, in which case you can immediately pull access from that person and they'll immediately lose access. And then in terms of just protecting your stuff, we use sort of the most cutting edge, everything is encrypted over the network. We use HTTPS protocols on the web. So sort of the actual transmission of your information is super secure. We keep stuff backed up. All of your songs are backed up on sort of multiple systems that live on the Google ecosystem, and we do nightly backups of all of our songs and data. And so we care a lot about security, and we know it's really important for people to sort of have that comfort with their original works. So yeah, if that didn't answer your question, I'm happy to also answer more specifics.
Perfect, thank you.
So question from Kim.
How many users of Songcraft at this time approximately? We have about 40,000 users at the moment.
I think it's like using it at this, oh wait. Oh, sorry. Never mind. I thought it was like collaborators at a time.
In this song, it's just me and Jen. No, but yeah, that's our user count. Let me go up to can you put a copyright notice on your songs? Right now, we don't have a built-in way to like a sort of feature that's specifically for copyrights, but there is a way. There's like a song information section here for your songs, which is where a lot of folks will include sort of like song share, ownership and copyright information and things like that. But because we don't really have a marketplace or open sharing network at the moment, we don't have sort of a more formal way to include, I don't know, more formal documentation with your songs. So right now you can include whatever you want here, but we don't have specific copyright features. Can you edit lyrics when offline? Right now it's an online only tool. When we have a mobile app, the mobile app will have offline access. But because it's in the browser and it's collaborative, right now it's an online. These are awesome questions. So yeah, please keep them coming, or thoughts, impressions, any of this stuff.
Or if there are things that you want us to like go over specifically or more in depth, we can also do that.
Yeah, I know the whole thing was kind of quick, and so I'm happy to go back and sort of show a couple things again or show things in more detail. There's even, there's a couple of features I didn't cover in terms of, changing tuning on your instrument. There's lots of kind of little hidden gems that are fun to explore. I always like building my own custom tuning. It's kind of fun. And then just seeing, the fingerings automatically. It's one I've been using for about 6 months and love it. Oh, thank you, Sabine. That's really, really nice to hear. Yeah, we find it's really helpful to send stuff to producers and to sort of like, we'd love to solve a lot of the problems that came with just sort of, I don't know, most people we talked to had a combination of offline notes app and Evernote and Google Docs, and then email. Email is like a big thing in terms of sharing. And there's a lot of complaints about sort of the confidence in email or in something getting lost, or sort of keeping everything in one place, different versions, stuff like that. So we're hoping to tackle some of those problems. Timeline for App Store and added features. We're sort of always making improvements to features. And so we literally we release updates to the product at least every month, pretty much every week, most weeks. So like in terms of features that come out, they're constantly coming out. In terms of the App Store, I can't give a specific date because that's just a complicated thing when it comes to all the moving parts with both Google Play and the Apple Store. It's sort of complicated, and with our development, it's hard to give an exact date. Sorry about that. But as soon as possible, we know mobile is a big deal. There is not a users forum. Community is something that we're hoping to invest more and more in. In fact, if you go to, let me show you.
I mean, I am curious about the users forum. Like, what are you looking for in a forum? Is there anything in specific, like you're like trying to look for in a users forum? This is a question from Susan.
Please give it a second. I'll type in.
Oh.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah, that's something that we would love to do more of. Right now, in terms of the actual non-platform stuff, we have sort of a resource center, but that is sort of more of a way for us to just share ideas and share new features and things with the community. But we are working on some future ideas in terms of community, and that will. We love the idea of giving folks a way to communicate with other users. And also we're working on a way that I can't give a release date for this, but it's sort of in the works and on the roadmap, a way for people to actually find other collaborators and publish the songs that they want to publish as well. So we have a lot of ideas in the works for generally community elements of this whole thing. And would love to hear if people have specific things they'd like to see in terms of the community stuff. We're like sort of soaking all that up as much as possible because that is a priority for us. We know it's really important because songwriting is a great community activity. Are there other questions, thoughts, things that people would like to see in any sort of songwriting product that might help their process? Or creating workshops to share their experiences, where songwriters can come in and talk about the stuff that they've written and how they use the platform and things like that. Is that what you have in mind, Susan? Very cool. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a super cool idea. I think anything that helps get songwriters' voices out there and also helps our users communicate and interact and sort of energize each other, I think is a great idea. Thank you, Sabine. Can you add all guitar chord images on the lyrics sheet? Yes, I think what you mean is like every chord that's in the song. I don't know if you were here right when we started, but I actually had that feature on early. Let me see if I can show you. I'm like a pretty slow Zoom user.
Yeah, there's a lot of buttons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think this is what you're talking about. I'm not 100% sure. In your settings, in your preferences, there's this option to show all chord charts, we call it. And when you enable that, it'll pull up all of the chord charts for the chords in your song, and it will just show them all on the top. And if you go and print your song with that feature enabled, it will also print all of those chords on top of your song. So that's a really nice way. I keep that on a lot. I think that's why I had it on when we started. I sometimes find that really helpful. Oh, yeah, perfect. Yeah, feel free to ask questions. I know, like, I started, yeah, I know everybody wasn't here the whole time, and I did move pretty quickly too. So yeah. Any other thoughts or questions? Go ahead, Jen.
Oh, I was gonna think, should we go over the different memberships, or not memberships, but like pro and not pro and things like that?
Yeah, I think that's really helpful. So Songcraft, like I said, is totally free to sign up. And there's basically 2 tiers of accounts. Assume everything is. Zoom has kind of half broken my computer. Oh my goodness. Sorry, oh, well, it looks like this page is is kind of freaking out right now on my computer. But basically, if you can read between the lines,
I can share my.
Can you pull it up and see if yours is?
Well, maybe, yeah. We'll see. You have to like share, help, give me permission to share.
See if I can figure out how to. Actually can't figure out how to do it. Let's see.
Okay, I thought you have to like stop sharing to let me.
Sorry, I think you should be able to now. So.
Is that?
Yes, this looks good. Cool. So yeah, there's 2 plans. The basic plan, it gives you almost all of the features that I showed you. You can basically use the platform for free forever. You get all of the tab building, all of the voice recording, all of the chord stuff, like almost the entire platform. But you're limited to 5 songs at any one time. And so that's kind of like the biggest limitation on the free platform, is that you can only have 5 songs. So if you want to bring your whole catalog in, if you decide you really like it, and you want to write everything in Songcraft, it can be really helpful to upgrade to Pro, because Songcraft Pro comes with unlimited songs. It also comes with all of the exercises I showed you. So you'll have basically on the free version, you'll have one rotating exercise that you can access. But if you want to access all of the songwriting decks all the time, you'll need the Pro version. And then there are some of the more advanced features are Pro features. So that includes the version history, saving chord progressions that you like for later, the video collaboration, and custom string tunings. And then also, if you print a song, it'll have a little Songcraft word mark if you're on the free version. And if you're not, then it won't have that. You can just print like normal. And actually related to this, we set up a discount code that's specifically for West Coast songwriters. And I'll drop it in the chat, but then I can also make sure that it gets shared out later, but it's just West Coast 25. So if you check out with West Coast 25, you'll actually get 25% off of any membership. Cool. Do we have any other questions or final thoughts? Cool. Okay, that's totally fine. Well, thank you everybody for joining and for chatting Songcraft with us. And yeah.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. And like I said, we love to talk to people, love to talk to songwriters all the time. So please feel free to reach out via that chat widget on the site, or I'm Gabe at songcraft.io, and this is Jenn at songcraft.io. If you want to email us, we're always around.
There's 2 N's.
Jenn with 2 N's.
If there's 1 N, it's going to get returned to senders.
Okay.
All
Thanks
right.
a lot.
All right.
Thank you, Bruce. Thank you,
everyone.
everybody.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.